world of fragrances is forever expanding, and there's different iterations of fragrances that have been our favorites. And here is what's happening right now in the fragrance world. I'm going to give you a couple examples of some new releases and kind of tell you what they smell like based on the notes. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's do it. Okay, so the new fragrance that has been released, and you might have seen it a little bit online right now, Turathi Electric. If the name sounds familiar, it's because Afnan has a fragrance, Turathi Blue, which is a very popular fragrance as well, but this is a new release, and their take on this is to kind of copy Blue Talisman. It's a very popular fragrance as well that's a little more expensive, so it's a good space to go into. But there is other fragrances that are similar that fall within the same category essence. You have Art of Universe. Based on the feedback that I've seen online, it looks like it's a tad bit sweeter in terms of Art of Universe, but that's a loved fragrance that's been hyped quite a bit. The notes here, they have bergamot, pear, orange, grapefruit to open it up, so that's the first burst you get. And then you'll get a little bit of apple in the middle notes, and then it says it ends with vanilla, amber, and musk. That's going to be the base there. So I'm excited to see what it smells like. I'm excited to get my hands on. Right now it's hyped, so the price is crazy. So I'm going to wait a little bit for it to cool. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. All right, so this one's a fairly newish, and I just did a video on sibling, cousin, brother, whatever, Hawas. So RASASI just released Hawas Tropical. Fragrantica describes it as like coconut water, ginger, fig, coconut, and mint, ending in tonka bean or sandalwood. If this kind of sounds a little bit familiar, it's because it actually is a take on JPG Le Beau. I've done a review on Kettle Island, which I really loved. And I've also mentioned in that same video, I mentioned, what's the name of that fragrance by Maison Alhambra? Glacier Bold. I mentioned Glacier Bold. I mean, the thing is that there's already fragrances that copy that DNA. So although I'm excited for the lineup, I don't know if I really need another JPG clone. I mean, that's debatable if you need one, but there's some really good ones out there. Like I mentioned, Glacier Bold by Maison Alhambra is a good one that's inexpensive. And then you have Kettle Island, which is a little more pricey, but you get a higher concentration, really good performance. So I'm not sure if I would want to buy this by RASASI. It might be kind of redundant, especially if you have JPG already or you have some of the other ones. So it's cool to see, but I actually think RASASI is a little bit late to the game, and I would have liked for them to do something a little bit different. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Xerjoff has been known to do some really good high quality fragrances, and this is no exception. And the bottle actually looks pretty close to a lot of their other fragrances. So here they did a collaboration, Duran Duran, and they have two fragrances here. They did New Rio, I guess that's how we can pronounce it. And the other one I believe is called like Dark Night, something. But today we're gonna focus on New Rio. It is a fragrance new to the space. They did do something a little bit different here, but I am a little bit disappointed with the notes and the timing of the release. To me, this notes and kind of pyramid of scent, it's really giving me nighttime winter vibes. Some of the notes is fruity, amber, woody, and sweetness. And then when we look at the notes for this, Fragrantica has it as rum, fig, maple sap, rose, and then it ends with tonka bean and patchouli. Again, I haven't smelled it, but to me, this kind of gives that kind of vibe. And, you know, even though the scents may be similar, the way the fragrances bring them together is really what makes a big difference here. It's fairly new, so in terms of rating, I mean, it's okay. It seems it's rated around the 4 range. So we'll see how it is. We'll see if it's even worth the price point here. But I do think they missed the season launch for this one, and I do think it's might be a little more winter time. I don't think it would be as appropriate for summer, maybe in the nighttime, but I mean, who cares? Wear whatever you want, I guess, right? So speaking of floral amber fragrances that are slightly sweet, which seems to be a very common pattern, French Avenue released a fragrance called Access, and Access like, you know, rotating on his axis. Anyways, you'll see based on the bottle why, and I think it's because of the top that it has on here. It does rotate and etc. But this fragrance actually is amber, floral, woody, and some hints of vanilla and fruit. In terms of notes, you see freesia, you see plum, you see some woody notes, and then it ends with a little bit of vanilla. So it's a very simplistic take here. So I wonder what they're trying to do. There isn't many reviews or comparisons since it's fairly new, but just simply based on the notes here, I would go as far as for saying that there's some fragrances here, depending on what they did with the plum, it may be a little bit different. But you also have liquid brune, right, which is kind of falls within that space too as well. And you have a Xerjoff, which is the blue bottle that looks very much like liquid brune. So those are just some of the releases and just some of the things going on in the fragrance space. Are you excited to try any of these? Hawas Tropical is kind of hyped. The Afnan Turathi Electric is kind of hyped right now too. And personally, I'm kind of excited to try that one. Not so much for the Hawas Tropical. If I'm going to be completely honest, I'm a little over that scent. But are you excited to try any of those? And let me know if you own it already and what you think about those. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace.